All right, so this video is not for everybody, but I want to go over exactly how putting purpose over my pleasure exactly got me to the point where I'm at right now. I got everything I could ever want in this world. I have the car, I have the watches, I have the crib, and I want to break over everything that I did all the way up until the point where I realized that putting my purpose over pleasure genuinely changed my life. And I want to break down the exact way that you guys can do this as well, because it is the number one thing that most men struggle with. And not even something that most men struggle with, but something that 90% of the majority of the human society struggles with, regardless of if you're a man or a woman. So of course, this is not going to be one of my typical videos. Everything that I talk about in this entire video is solely to have the purpose of helping you out getting to the next point in your life that you know that you need to get to. So I'm gonna keep this video entirely raw for you guys so you can understand every little thing that goes on in my head process that also needs to go on in your head process as well in order for you to excel to the very next level. And the big thing that I want everybody to understand is that your life is a test. Every little given moment you have in your life is a test. And now let me break that down a little bit. Imagine you fail a test at school, right? And you're constantly failing it. Do you expect to go up into the next grade level? Because of course the answer is no. You have to be willing to pass the test. And every day the devil will throw temptations at you, and God loves to see how you will respond to these things. And if you pass the test, you get to move up the ladder into the next grade. And the same concept applies into your life that you currently live right now. Regardless of if you see that as a test, every little thing placed in your life on a day-to-day basis is a test. And in order to pass the test, everything all underlies based on your perception that you have throughout your life. Every little thing that revolves around your life is all based upon your perception. What is your perception? Perception is just the way that you think. If you are not in a strong mind state, how do you expect to have the life that everybody dreams of having? And keep in mind, people dream of having this life because they do not have the mind state that is able and capable of getting them to that dream life that they want to live in. And of course, there's gonna be a major difference in the average person compared to someone who is successful, right? Now, let me give a little live example. My mother, she never believed anything that I could do, not because she's my mother or she's preying on my downfall, but because we have a different perception. And depending on the perception that you have of certain things around this world, it will create your reality. She can only understand so much based off of the thinking that she has processed herself through compared to the thinking process that I have gone through. If I think I can make $1 million a month, she's gonna see that as absolutely insane because we do not share the same perspectives. We do not share the same world views. So therefore, anything I tell her will seem crazy. And I'm sure you guys have went through that as well. You tell some of these big dreams, all these big aspirations that you have and the things that you want to accomplish, but you cannot accomplish those things because these people do not share the same exact perception as you do around the worldviews that you have. So in order for you to create your reality, you must be willing to change your perception in a positive aspect on everything you do throughout your life. Because I promise you, if you don't change your perspective on the things that you have going around in your life, then you will not have the positive life that you dream of having. Do not expect to have positive things if your head is wrapped around in a negative drama. And you also have to understand at the end of every single day, God will see all of the tests that you went through. Therefore, he will reward you based off of the things that you have done throughout the entire day. Therefore, if you fall into your temptations, who are you falling into? You are falling into the hands of the devil. You are not falling into the hands of God. And you have to understand the difference between every little positive and negative thing throughout your life, because once you understand that, and once you understand there is no in between, you understand there's only two sides of the fence. It's either positive or negative. If one side is positive, who is that going to be? That is going to be God. If the other side of the fence is negative, who is that going to be? That is going to be the devil. And you have to understand that every little thought that processes through your brain is not yours. They are either one of those two forces, and you have to understand and you have to tell the difference between those two. And once you understand the difference between those two, you will go to a way further place in life than 90% of the population. Not because you're doing the correct things, but just because your perception based off of the reality that you will create for yourself, because the way that you think will create the reality that you have, your life will completely and drastically change. Before I ever got anything that I wanted, I always understood that everything processes through your mind before it becomes a reality. If you want a strong belief system, where does that process through first? It processes through the perception that you have based off the things and the worldviews that you believe in. So if I believe that anything I put my mind to, I can accomplish, therefore, my perception on anything is accomplishable. Compared to the person that thinks they need to go through thousands of hours of work just to get the thing that everybody else has, or maybe they need to go through years on years just to see a college degree and make 100,000 plus a year. That is just a terrible mindset to have. And now the mindset that I have, on the other hand, is that I can make that every single month. And just because I think that I can make that every single month, I know in the back of my head, I will be able to make that every single month. So always understand everything processes through the brain first, then it becomes a reality. So always understand that every little temptation that is thrown at you, you have to understand that your purpose means more than absolutely everything in this world. You need to put yourself first. You need to throw away all the lustful temptations. You need to throw away the girls that are not helping you, because brother to brother, those girls will not get you anywhere in life. If you're too fixated on all these girls, how do you expect to get to the money? How do you expect to seek the opportunities that God throws at you if the devil's right in front of you, playing with you by a string? And you have to understand that every little decision that you make right now will impact your future on a whole different extent, to a whole different level than you could ever possibly imagine. Now, why is that so? Let's say I decide to do something tonight that is me falling underneath my temptations. I can stay in the same position that I'm in, and I cannot see growth off of that because I'm falling to my temptations, which there is no growth in temptations. Or I can push my temptations to the side and see the life that God wants me to live. Because God only wants you to do positive things. He only wants you to do what will impact your future for the better. He will never throw anything negative at your life unless it is a lesson. And the only way that you could possibly grow is by going through hard times and going through those lessons. So understand the difference, that sometimes it's not always the devil attacking you, it's God trying to teach you a lesson. He will make you uncomfortable, he will make you cry, he will make you sad, but the thing is that it's not the devil. It is simply because God wants to challenge you to see how well you perform under pressure during that test. And if you pass that test, where do you move on to? You move on to the very next level and you will excel in your life. And always remember, it takes only just one decision to change everything. If I never moved out to Miami, I would have not met all of these people that I know now that have impacted my future, which would dictate the rest of my future for the rest of my life. So always understand, I'm going to say that one more time. That one decision that you think that you need to make, please make it, because it will impact your entire future. That one decision could either be a positive impact or it could be a negative impact. Let's say I go decide to sleep with a girl unprotected. What possible events could that lead to? And I'm sure you guys can put two and two together. That one child will mess up your entire future, not because it's something bad necessarily, but because now that one decision impacted the rest of your life. So always remember that every little decision that you make will impact the rest of your life. And this is exactly why I'm preaching to you guys about purpose over pleasure. Always focus on the things that will impact your purpose, not impact your pleasure. The more that you are pleasured, the less purposeful you will be. There is no in between. There's no in between the lines at all. If I would have sacrificed my purpose for my pleasure, would I really be in the position that I'm in right now? And the answer is absolutely not. And you have to understand that from every little aspect of life. And the same thing goes down to maybe you working out in the gym. Let's say I decide to have one cheat meal. Is that going to impact the purpose that I have into changing my body into looking like the best person possible? Or is that going to negatively impact me because I'm falling into my pleasure by eating foods that taste good? And the same thing goes for business. The same thing goes for life. Every decision falls under purpose or pleasure. And every single time you have to choose purpose over pleasure. So repeat that to yourself every single day when you feel like you're falling into temptations or anything that may be dragging you down. Always remember purpose over pleasure. And I want you to repeat that to yourself at least 5 times. Purpose over pleasure, purpose over pleasure, purpose over pleasure, purpose over pleasure, purpose over pleasure. And I want you to ingrain that in your head so deeply where every time something bad is about to happen, or every time you get a negative thought to do something, or to just go out and do something that will not impact your future, I want you to repeat those words to yourself. Purpose over pleasure, because I promise you that will make the biggest difference in your life. And you have to understand that you will never get anywhere without putting your purpose over your pleasure. Every little thing that you do now will impact your future. Every small decision. Remember, like I said, all it takes is one decision to change the entire outcome of your life. It's not 2 decisions. It's not 3 decisions. It's one decision that will impact your entire future. If you decide to start that one business, is that going to impact your entire future? Or do I need to make multiple decisions? Nope. The answer is that one decision. And if I decide to link up with one girl and do things that probably God would not be proud of, is that going to impact my future? 100% for the rest of my life. It's going to impact everything. And you have to understand, impacting your future all comes down to that one decision that you make. It's not multiple decisions. So always understand that at all given costs, you will always receive a test from God, and you have to know exactly how to handle it. And you need to know exactly the difference between the positive and the negativity, because there's only 2 sides of the fence. That's going to be God, or that's going to be the devil. Back to what I was saying about your perception about everything. Your perception creates your belief. Your perception creates your reality. So have a positive perception on anything in life. Have the craziest perception that you are able to do anything that you put your mind to, as corny as it may sound. If I never thought I could do anything I put my mind to based off the perceptions that I have throughout my business, my life, my personal life, I would not be the person I am today. If I didn't see myself as someone who can speak with intelligence, someone who is able to impact millions of people, then I wouldn't have done that. But I was only able to do that because I told myself I could do anything I put my mind to. It may not work out now, it may not work out in a month, but you always have to continue to have that positive perception on your worldviews, which will eventually create your reality. Your reality is all based off your decisions that you make and the way that you view everything in this world. So just always remember that every little thing in your life will dictate the future that you have. Any temptations that you have, go to God, pray, ask for him to relieve you from that temptation and only deliver you towards righteousness. If you have any negative perspectives about things in life, then you need to do some positive rethinking inside of your mind, and you need to reframe the reality that you will have. And the only way to do that is by reframing the perceptions that you have based off the things of this world and the way that you view these things. It all comes down to your mindset about everything. And now, what is the mindset? The mindset is what your mind is set on. It's literally inside of the word. If you think you are set to do great things, therefore your mindset will be so powerful compared to the person that think they are limited to the things that they could do. If you want to achieve great things out of this life, you need to understand that it all starts with you. It all starts with the views that you have on this world, which will transform your reality from the current reality that you have right now to the next reality that you will have. And what does it exactly say in the Bible? It says, as a man thinketh, so he will be. And what does that exactly mean? If I think I'm going to be someone who is extremely wealthy and have all of the nice things of this world, what will happen? I will achieve those things and I will have those things. If I think I'm someone who is intelligent, if I think I am someone who can make millions of dollars every single month, I will eventually make millions of dollars every single month solely because I think that and I believe that. And like I said, it all comes down to your perception that you have on the world, and your perception will create your reality. Stray away from all temptations at all costs, and always remember that it's always going to be your purpose over your pleasures. Move with intent, only do things that will serve your purpose, and anything that comes along the way, which there will be a million of temptations that will fall through on you, you have to stray them away, and you have to stay strong-headed, you have to stay strong-minded, and the only way to do that is to just simply change your perception on the worldview that you currently have in every little aspect of your life, regardless of if that's money, your body, the way that you talk to people. Every little thing in this world revolves around your perception. If you have a strong perception, like I said, you will have a good reality. And that one decision that you will make can either positively impact your future or it can negatively impact your future. So always remember that the choice is yours. Whatever reality you want to create for yourself, that is all your decision. Every little decision that you make will impact the future that you have. There is a million possibilities of what you could become, but always remember, it all starts with that one decision in order to change your life, whether if it's something good or bad.